Our next speaker, the incredible Monica Brink from Fivecast, the Senior Director of Marketing at Fivecast, a global digital intelligence scale-up where she built the marketing engine from scratch. With over 20 years of experience across the US, EMEA and APAC, including roles at Microsoft, BMC Software and multiple startups, Monica knows what it takes to drive smart, scalable growth, all things we need to know. Your superpower is building marketing programs that don't just work once, they work again and again. So with impact you can measure. She's a strategist, a builder and a lifelong marketer with a global mindset, and she is here today to share all the gold with you. Please make her feel welcome. Monica.
Great, thank you. Thanks everyone. Thanks Chanel, thanks for joining the session today. I was so excited that Digital Adelaide asked me to speak on this topic because I really believe it's a great time to be a B2B marketer, like all of us are in this room, for every global business around the world, but particularly here in Adelaide. You know, we're increasingly in a global village and a digital global village at that. So there's never been a better time for B2B marketers like us to really have an impact, to help scale businesses, help grow businesses globally. So I'm excited to share my insights on that. So I lead the marketing team at Fivecast, as Chanel said. And Fivecast is an open source intelligence company, so high tech, born and bred in Adelaide. And our solutions help our customers collect data across the surface, deep and dark web, and then apply AI machine learning to very quickly risk analyze that data. So our solutions are used for a number of really important use cases around the world, like human trafficking, counter-terrorism, fraud detection, money laundering, transnational organised crime. So we sell predominantly to the government sector, national security, defence intelligence, law enforcement agencies. But we've also branched out into the corporate sector as well, particularly with banks, financial services organisations for some of those AML fraud detection use cases. So as I said, Adelaide's success story, born and bred in Adelaide. We're now 150 people. All of our product development, engineering, head office functions are here on Hutt Street. And we now have 3 other offices, one in Canberra to service our APAC client base, one in Washington, DC in the US, and one in London in the UK. So yeah, it's a great example, I think, of how you can scale global businesses from Adelaide. A little bit more about me. As Chanel said, I spent many years overseas, returned to my hometown of Adelaide in 2020, just before COVID broke out, so that was interesting. And yeah, had the opportunity to work with big companies, as well as startups in the US, the UK, and the Middle East. And I've really, throughout my career, been lucky enough to see how B2B global marketing practices can really make a difference and have a huge impact. So happy to share those insights with you today. Some of what I'm, there we go. So what I'm going to cover today is some key B2B marketing aspects that I've seen make a difference around the world, and also growing Fivecast from here in Adelaide. Before I dive in, I did want to get a sense of the audience in terms of, can you raise your hand if you're working for a company here in Adelaide that is already exporting or has ambitions to export and grow on the global stage? Yeah, okay, a few of you, yeah. And then alternatively, are there people in the room who are working for a division of a larger company that may be head office interstate or overseas? Yeah, a few as well, and I guess some of the others are sort of in between. So I've been to a lot of events in SA over the last year or so. The AIDA Summit a couple of months ago, recently spoke at a Department of State Development event as well. And it's just so exciting to hear all of the startup, scale-up stories here in Adelaide and the opportunity for global growth. So good to get a sense of the audience. To start off, I wanted to share this research on B2B buying groups. And a lot of you in the room may have seen a version of this research. The one I'm sharing was done by the analyst firm Forrester and 6 Sense, their 2024 B2B buyer research report. Harvard Business Review has just done one. Gartner has also just done a similar research report. And the common factor in the findings of all of those is that B2B buying groups are getting bigger and they're getting more complex. And that creates both an opportunity and a challenge for us as B2B marketers. So diving into some of the findings here, The average B2B buying group, 9 individuals. Now, from our perspective at Fivecast, selling to government, we actually think that's on the small side. A lot of the buying groups we sell to are even more than that. You know, you're not just having to convince the key decision maker and the department that will be using our software. There's a number of other departments we need to convince and who have a say in that buying decision. The legal department. We just heard from Paul from Woolman's lawyers around some of those privacy and security issues. The finance department and many other departments in between. So that buying group is very large. We have to influence them all. The other key point there is the buying cycle of 11 months. Again, from our side, 11 months is, you know, a little on the short side. We see our sales cycles with government and with big corporates, Fortune 500s, easily going out to 18 months. So there's a lot of opportunity there for marketing to influence that sales cycle. And then this is key for B2B marketers. That third point there, the first point of contact with a vendor is when they are 70% into the sales cycle. So these B2B buyers now have so much information at their disposal, at their fingertips. They've now even got AI. You know, in the last 12 months, we've seen a lot of research being done on our solutions via AI engine, ChatGPT and the like. So they are 70% into the sales cycle before they're ready to speak to a salesperson. Again, great opportunity for marketing influence. And then the last point there being that buyers initiate contact with a vendor 83% of the time. And we're certainly seeing that more inbound leads coming into our marketing team. Whoa, where did this great lead come from? You know, the CISO of a Fortune 100 firm in the US, and then we can work out that they've been on our website, they've spoken to an analyst, they've seen us at an event, they've done all this research, they've got to 70% of the sales cycle, and then they're ready to reach out. So what does this all mean for us as B2B marketers? Well, as I said, it's a huge opportunity and it's also a challenge. The opportunity there is to really show the value in your organizations of marketing influence. And, you know, working with sales teams, working with C-level exec teams, it's always a challenge to prove the value of marketing. You know, a lot of people think marketing is still advertising or arranging an event. And, you know, we as B2B marketers know there's a lot more in it than that. This is a great opportunity for you to show the opportunity and the impact of marketing on company revenue. It's also a challenge though, because we need to understand that entire buying group. So all of the roles within that buying group, from the decision maker, both economic and technical decision maker, and all of the influencers that are within that buying group as well, and make sure that we have the right messages and the right content and are putting all of those messages and content in the right channels to reach that entire buying group. We have to support them on that research process that they're going through 70% of the sales cycle. It's also a great opportunity to get closer with sales, right? So that sales and marketing alignment, I think Rabina is talking later today about sales and marketing potentially not having to be frenemies or being frenemies. But this is a great opportunity to show sales how marketing can help them with sales velocity, shortening that sales cycle, warming the customer up so that when they do their sales outreach or stand at a booth at an industry trade show, the prospect has heard of your company. They know what you're about. They've read a white paper on your website. They already have that perception of credibility about your organisation. So great opportunity for sales and marketing to come together here. So how do we put this into practice? How do we as B2B marketers ensure that we're influencing that 70% of the sales cycle and also, just as importantly, showing the business what we're contributing? It really all starts with the marketing strategy, the foundations of marketing strategy. And I'm quite a pragmatic marketer, and I think we as B2B marketers often are. The B2C cousins over there often get to do all the crazy creative stuff. But you know, with B2B marketing, I always talk about these 3 pillars, which all of you will be familiar with in your roles. And it's all starting with the messaging and positioning. So having that strong foundation of knowing your buyer, knowing all the personas within your buyer group, as I said, the influencers, the decision makers, everyone in between, and understanding what their pains are and what they care about and how you can influence them. And then ensuring you have that clear positioning in the market. So understanding your competitive differentiation and where you can really make an impact. So that strong foundation of messaging and positioning, it takes time, it's not easy, it's a strategic marketing effort, but it's so worth the time to put that in and also get other people in the organisation, whether it's your product development team, if you're in high tech, if you're in manufacturing, if it's your engineers, the head of operations, getting their input as well, sales as well, they know the customer, input into that positioning and messaging foundation. And then that translates into content. And B2B, I think Gartner came out with content is king about 15 years ago, but I still think it's so true. We need to show that credibility to our prospects and customers and show that we're not just selling, but we can offer something of value, we can educate them. So ensuring that all of that great messaging and positioning work is translated into content and campaign themes. Then it all comes to life in marketing channels. So are you putting all of that great content in the right marketing channels to get the right message to the right buyer at the right time? Foundation of marketing strategy here that can really help that marketing influence. So where to from there? How do you actually, take those three pillars and transform them into a repeatable, scalable marketing strategy that can take your little Adelaide business or help your big global business grow even more. And that's where it all comes together in the marketing machine. And this is really our marketing machine on a page that we use at Fivecast. And I've used a similar machine at all the companies I've worked for. So, at Microsoft, we had something very similar. We had a lot more resources, but we had something very similar in terms of driving awareness and leads in the market. And so, that core of the hub and spoke wheel there of the marketing machine, if you like, is that content and campaigns. Everything from product content, case studies, webinars, creative, both product and thought leadership. And I've got another slide coming up around how you build a repeatable, scalable content strategy. So important for B2B. And then these are the marketing channels that we use at Fivecast. You may be using some of these, some more than others. We use these on a global basis, and that's, again, the beauty of the digital village is that a lot of this can be done from our head office here in Adelaide and rolled out in the UK and the US, but there are also some nuances in different regional markets and some marketing channels that work better in other regions other than APAC, UK, US. And it all really starts with email marketing. We use HubSpot. I'm sure you use Salesforce, something else, whatever, Zoho, MailChimp, whatever marketing engine you have. Email marketing, I think, is still very effective in B2B. People still open emails. My CEO often opens emails from marketing companies and forwards them to me. So, he's the influencer, I guess, in that decision. And that email marketing for us is a key way that we nurture those cold leads coming in. And we have a HubSpot scoring system that I'll go into in a minute. We also use ZoomInfo to enrich our database, and this is really important for global scalability, ensuring that you're getting, filling that top of funnel, getting new leads into the system. Some of you may use 6 Sense or Lusher, but basically a database enrichment solution is important. We then also use social. Now, being in our space, defence, national security, we really only use LinkedIn, but we're hearing from LinkedIn this afternoon, I think. But it's a great platform for growing B2B influence and credibility. So it's not just posts. Of course, we do posts. We do LinkedIn articles. We do LinkedIn newsletters. But we also interact in LinkedIn groups relevant to our industry and try to get our subject matter experts to interact in those. And our sales team is also using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So it's a great lead gen engine for sales as well. Depending on what industry you are in, there's lots of other options, obviously, in social, whether it's Facebook or others. PR, comms and awards. So PR still has a strong role to play in B2B marketing and lead gen. We find that PR is particularly effective in the UK and US markets. There's a lot more industry specific, so defence, national security, as well as banking, finance, insurance, industry specific publications that we can really get targeted messages, targeted PR placement in those, which we know influences our audience. Awards. It's a great way to get awareness in a new market. We've been lucky enough to be shortlisted for a number of awards here in Australia as well as in our export markets. And then, you can reuse that a lot. Post it on LinkedIn, do a news page, do a little video vignette, even if you don't win. It's a great opportunity. So I have my field marketers in the other regions scanning all the awards and making sure we're applying for those. Website and SEO, I'm sure we're going to hear a lot about SEO and website optimization in these 2 days here. I have one of my team focused on SEO. We use SEMrush for research around that. And we have a lot of inbound leads that are coming in through SEO search. Some of those are branded search, so word of mouth, they've heard about Fivecast, they Google us, come in that way. But also increasingly, it's not branded search, they're searching industry terms that we've been able to plug into our blogs and public content on the website. A key platform for growth. Industry bodies and analysts, these have been really key for us for export growth, particularly in the US. There's a lot of different industry bodies relative to defence, national security, again, the finance industry as well. We become members of those industry bodies, and then we can do two key things. We can reach their audience, so we can appear in their newsletters, we can appear on their website, and we also gain, the second thing is we gain sort of ride on the coattails of the credibility of that industry body by being a member, by them featuring us. We just drive that top-level awareness amongst our prospect base, which is so important. Analyst firms as well, I've mentioned Forrester, Gartner. We're increasingly getting involved in analyst firms and using them as another influencing body. Digital ads and content syndication. We do LinkedIn and Google search ads. It's very expensive, but we kind of feel it's something that we need. We don't have a lot of inbound leads coming in from our digital advertising, but it's something that you have to do to be in the market. Impressions are good, so it's something I do begrudge spending on it a bit in my budget, but I think you just need it for that top-level awareness. So we've had, and that's managed globally from our office here in Adelaide. So content syndication, though, is useful in export markets. So again, I mentioned the media publications on the PR spoke. We also pay those media publications to syndicate our content. So if we have a great white paper, we'll get them to syndicate it to their audience, and that's been really great to drive leads in the US market. Partner marketing. This is key, again, for export and growth, and again, similar to industry bodies, we've been able to ride on the coattails of different strategic partners in different locations to form relationships with them, reach their audience by partnering with them, do press releases with strategic partners, do joint events with them. It really helps to stretch the marketing budget. So, depending what industry you're in, if you can find those strategic partners in the global markets you're going after and enter the market with them, if they've already got some awareness, that can take you a long way. And with all of this, we test, measure, and optimize. I think us as marketers, even in the B2B space, you have to try things, right? Have to try and see what works, particularly in new markets. So, as I said, we've found that, I missed off conferences, events, you're all familiar with those. We've found conferences and events is a huge top of funnel lead growth driver in the US. People there, they go to a lot of conferences. They like to get out and about and talk a lot. They'll fly across the US to a conference, over to Vegas. So conferences are great in the US, less so in the UK. Whether it's the travel or what it is, we don't use those big industry conferences as much in the UK. So, we've tested all of these channels in all of our different markets, see what works, and then make adjustments based on that. Content strategy. So this is key for B2B, and no matter where I've worked or how many people I have in my team, I never seem to be able to get away from content. Just, tonight when I get home, I've got to review a blog and edit it, and so, that content is a big task for B2B marketers. And it's so worthwhile, though, putting in place that global, repeatable, and scalable content strategy. So some tips I've picked up is identify SMEs across the business. We heard Jeremy this morning in his great talk, Jeremy from Fleet Space, talk about storytelling and passion. You know, find someone in your business, whether you're in a manufacturing company or a high-tech company, who is passionate about what you produce, and encourage them to tell their story. Now, a lot of resistance that you'll probably get is, oh no, I'm not a writer. Oh, I was terrible at English at school. Oh no, I don't do marketing stuff. But, you know, help them and show them how they can have a voice and share what they know. And also make it easy for them. You know, as I said, with blogs, I'm still editing. You know, tell them you can send me a Word doc or a handwritten list of bullet points, and I'll massage it into a blog, and then you can approve it. So make it easy for your SMEs to shine. Also, it's an opportunity for them. And communicate to them what they get out of it. You know, they get their name up in lights. Good for their career. They can share what they know. In Fivecast, we have a number of very intelligent tradecraft people who come from the intelligence industry. So they like to share what they know. We also have a team of data scientists, and, you know, they like to be uplifted within their profession and speak at events. So we sort of have a pool there of SMEs that we can draw on for content. The other key thing is create, reuse, and recycle, right? When I was working in the US, we had this concept of sweat your content assets. So you get a white paper, cut that white paper down, turn it into a blog, cut that blog down, turn it into a LinkedIn post. Take that white paper, turn it and use it as the basis for a webinar. You know, get your SMEs to take the key points from the white paper and do a 20-minute webinar. So, you know, we have to put content out on a weekly basis, reuse, recycle as much as you can. Consumable formats as well. Thanks to these things, none of us have a very long attention span these days. So we've found that, you know, even in the business to government, B2B space, people want shorter content. So we're doing less white papers, more shorter videos that we put on LinkedIn, short case studies. We even promote it as read this 2-page case study or watch this 2-minute video, because who doesn't have 2 minutes? But, you know, read this 10-page white paper, I don't think so. So reusable formats shorter formats are the way to go. Include both gated and free content. Now this is, you may go to the Fivecast website after this and say, oh, Monica, most of your content is gated, and it still is. We're trying to get better at this, and that's largely because of the sensitive space that we work in, you know, around counter-terrorism and fraud and other use cases. But we are trying to do more free content as well. And the reason for that is that 70% of the buyer's cycle, when those B2B buyers are doing their research, they don't want to come up against a form all the time. And forms do scare people away, because you kind of think, oh, I'm going to fill in this form and get a marketing email, or a salesperson's going to call me. So make it easy for them to do their research. Put more free, ungated content on your website. Other point there, map the content to buying cycles and roles, so from awareness through to consideration to decision. Understand your buying cycle. Make sure you have the right content for each stage of the buying cycle. You know, as in awareness, it needs to be more thought leadership, information about the challenge and how you solve that challenge. As they get closer down to decision, you know, you can map the journey they're going on. More information, more product-focused information, or competitive comparison type documents, really useful as you get further along that buying cycle. And then relate it back to campaign themes, as I said, and refine for regional and cultural contexts. Now this is getting easier and easier because of the global village. We standardise on US English because the US is a huge market for us, and we in Australia and in the UK are used to seeing Zs instead of Ss. So we just make it easy for ourselves, and we standardise on US English. As you see there, some of our content examples I've got up on the screen is we do focus in on some campaigns relative to the US and other markets. Just a quick example here that is taken directly from our HubSpot CRM system, showing the marketing influence at Fivecast. I'm just going to go back to my screen here. And this is marketing influence in practice. So you can see in February 2023, the new contact came in, and this was a decision maker. So So this was a C-level at a Fortune 100 corporate client that we closed in 2024. So you can see the sales cycle here was exactly 1 year. Came in from organic search, which is great, and SEO at work. Requested a case study, joined our Intel Hub, which is our repository of educational content. Then in May, a few months later, started clicking on marketing emails, downloaded an insider threat white paper. Then a few months later in August, started interacting, saw us on LinkedIn, started interacting there, and then read and downloaded one of our case studies. And then the next month, downloaded an industry brief. So all of this time, this person is being scored up in HubSpot and sales is reaching out to them. In October, they read a blog, and then in February, the deal closed. So just showing the power of B2B marketing in that sales cycle. Here's another one here. This is a technical decision maker. And I won't go through the detail. That was a slightly longer sales cycle, almost 15 months. But this person was a CISO in a big defense intelligence agency in the US. So you can see even a defense, a technical influencer or decision maker is interacting with marketing content, reading blogs, attending our industry events, reading newsletters, etc. So just some examples there. So you've got your leads, you've got all your messaging and content in the right channels. Where do you go from there? Sales and marketing alignment. Is anyone challenged by aligning with their sales teams? No? Okay, great. Don't need to talk. This is when we show the funnel to the sales team, their eyes do light up. So the way we get sales and marketing alignment is to have shared KPIs around our lead funnel. So, and helping them to understand what marketing is trying to do. You know, getting cold leads in, warming them up to marketing qualified leads, sales accepted leads, sales qualified leads, and then customer. So having those shared KPIs with sales is key. We have shared KPIs around conversion rate optimization, that arrow there, and then also pipeline build. So we have agreements with sales on how much pipeline marketing is going to help them build. We also have territory marketing plans. So my field marketers in each location work on a territory plan with each salesperson to show that, so that each salesperson is fully invested in how we're trying to drive leads. They know what conferences we're going to, what campaigns we're running, what advertising we're doing, so that they can have that relationship with marketing and grow revenue that way. I'm going to slip over this slide just for timing, but test, measure, and optimize. Some ideas there you can read in the slides you get afterwards on how you can really test, do A/B testing in your CRM system, etc. B2B marketing is, you know, it's not a science yet, but it is becoming more scientific, and you can certainly see the impact of things almost in real time and tweak it based on that. Here's some of the ways we test and optimize, measuring our MQLs by channel, identifying which of our marketing channels are generating the most marketing qualified leads and adjusting our budget based on that. We also do a lot of analysis on content performance. So what content assets are the most popular? You can see there, that's why we do a lot of webinars. The global team. So since I joined Fivecast in 2020 as the only person in the marketing team for a year, nearly killed me, but I survived. But since then, I've been fortunate to have some investment. We now have a team of 8. We do have field marketers in each of our locations, so Canberra, Washington DC, and London, and they are in lockstep with the sales team there, and they roll out all of our global campaigns in region. So do encourage you, if your company is open to investing in export markets, see if you can get a field marketing manager in region ASAP. And then, it's just important in terms of collaboration and having those communication systems in place. We track everything through Jira so that, people don't have to be up early too often or late talking to the UK or the US. That's our MarTech stack. I've already mentioned a lot of those, but you may be using some of those. That's what we use. Obviously, very important for scalability to get your MarTech stack right. So your checklist, my last slide. understand your buyer's journey. Understand your personas, who you're selling to, what their challenges and pains are, how you can solve them, and how you do that better than your competition. And then put that into your messaging and your content. Implement a repeatable, scalable content strategy. Start small, start with one blog a month, and then say, all right, we're going to do a blog and a webinar, and then reuse that content as much as possible. Start small as well in terms of all your marketing channels. Test, measure, optimize, and repeat. Define your lead gen KPIs and track them. That's the way you can really show to leadership, to your C-level, the impact that marketing has. It's not just advertising and doing a booth at events. It's really a strategic part of the business growth. Align those KPIs and lead gen strategies with sales. Bring sales along for the journey. Get the right team in place, headquarters and regional if you can, and then build a scalable MarTech stack. Thanks, everyone.
Wow. I'm sure I share everyone's thoughts that was so valuable. Thank you so much. We've got a Q&A now, so I'd like to start with this one. From your experience, what channels actually move the needle for B2B growth?
Yes, I would say all of them, but test, measure, see what works for your market. We use all of those channels that I had up there on the screen, and I think to influence, as I said, that buyer's journey, they have so much data and information at their fingertips. You need to be wherever they are searching. So if they go to conferences, you need to be there. If they're on LinkedIn, you need to be there. If they're looking at media publications on engineering or manufacturing, you need to advertise in those publications. So I think with B2B marketing, there's not one channel which I would just say, just double down on that. Understand your buyer, know where they are, and then use those channels.
Well said. I think you've experienced this because you said before how you were a one-man person, and now you've got a team of 8, which is fantastic. For lean teams specifically, what's your go-to playbook for scaling content without burning out? Speaking from experience.
Yes, that's a very good question because you can burn out, and a lot of people in the business say they want to create content until they realise how much work it is, and then they slowly walk backwards into the hedge like Homer Simpson. So marketing really needs to take the lead on this and make it easy for them. We are starting to use Copilot, which is ChatGPT that's authorised for use in Fivecast for content generation. Now you have to be careful, obviously. We don't ask Copilot to write the entire thing. We actually do the draft and get Copilot to refine it. So AI content generation is your friend, but also, as I said earlier, show your SMEs, your subject matter experts in your business, what's in it for them. They can build up their career. They can be on LinkedIn and say, read this great blog from Joe Smith, who's an expert on manufacturing or design of this. They may get invited to speak at conferences if you build up their profile. So show what's in it for them and also give them credit. I always make sure that a lot of our stuff is published anonymously, so the author isn't listed because it's sensitive, but I always make a point of going to the C-level or standing up in a meeting and saying, Bob wrote this white paper for us and it's great. So if they know that marketing is going to give them credit, they'll be more open to it.
It's a nod to people still by people.
Yes.
As much as AI does so much work for us and the digital age does take over, we still need that human connection and
Absolutely.
that face and personality behind it. What's the biggest shift you've seen in B2B marketing over the years of your career?
Yeah, I think it's a great shift. It's why at the start of my speech I said that it's a great time to be a B2B marketer. Marketing now has a real strategic seat at the table. And I think, with a lot of these strategies that I presented, you can help that to happen in your own businesses. I think when I did start 20 years ago, that it was more around, you guys just organise the events and do some PowerPoints. Now, experienced, savvy CEOs know that marketing is essential to B2B growth. So, you've got that opportunity to influence company strategy and to really have a seat at the table. Maybe not the boardroom table. Well, yeah, the boardroom table, but at least the exec table.
I learned recently, and it could be harsh to say, so take the gold in the middle and the delivery, just ignore, that the consumer, or let's say the other business on the other side, doesn't care about your business. What they want is a need to be matched. What's in between? So would you say that's in order to, if you're going out there and you're doing the B2B marketing and you're looking to connect with other businesses, it's not necessarily your business they're caring about. It's matching a need essentially for maybe a consumer benefit later on. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And your delivery was good.
Not so harsh.
Yeah, that's absolutely key. And that's why, it's essential to do that messaging and positioning and buyer's journey mapping work up front so you know what they care about. And it's less about you, less about Fivecast is great. We've got great AI. We message, we know it, we understand your solutions, we understand what you're struggling with. Here's how we can solve that. Yeah.
Beautifully said. And the average attention span is about 8 seconds, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
It used to be 40, it's now 8. It just shows
Yeah.
how quick we are shifting from different platforms to different projects and things like that. So have you got any kind of key tips for people to, AI would be one, but essentially to drill down on those most important messages? You might write a paper which really the most important thing in that is that one key sentence.
Yes, absolutely. And we're actually going through a messaging refresh right now for that, to meet that challenge. And a quote that I really like is from Ben Hu, the South Korean entrepreneur, and I hope I don't butcher this, but it's something like, people tend to admire complexity but reward simplicity. So, a lot of, I'm sure like me, working in open source intelligence software, some of your companies are quite complex, maybe highly technical, highly engineered, which is great, but you need to distill that back to a very simple message that communicates value to get that cut through in the market.
Great. I don't know about anyone here, but I certainly felt like this, that there was a time in my career that I felt Adelaide wasn't the place for me. I felt like I needed to move somewhere else, interstate, overseas, somewhere bigger. And I feel that that's changed now. There's a lot of good stuff happening in Adelaide in a variety of different industries, not just that we've got so many fancy restaurants opening and festivals here. There's a lot of good stuff. So can you shed some light on that B2B, that Adelaide really is a fantastic place to live and base yourself, based on the fact also that technology is breaking down those barriers for us, those connective barriers?
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned, the AIDA Summit, some of the events I've been invited to recently, there's just so many interesting startups and scale-ups in Adelaide that are growing globally from here. I was on a panel recently with the CEO of Bank and the founder of Tantalus South, the gaming company. Highly accomplished people doing great things from Adelaide and growing globally. Lot 14, all of the innovation startups there. I think you can have a great B2B marketing career now in Adelaide. And to the other part of your question, you can do it from here. We are increasingly a digital global village. So you can launch marketing campaigns from Adelaide that resonate in the US, in Washington, DC, with the US Department of Defense, for example. So leverage all those tools that you have at your disposal.
That's great. Thank you for that, Monica. Where does nurturing sit within your marketing machine?
Yeah, great question. Nurturing has a very important role in our marketing machine, and you would have seen the funnel that we have there. So we get a lot of cold leads in, through Zoom Info, our database enrichment tool. They are pretty much mainly cold leads, and then we nurture them through email marketing and through other channels as well. We then score them up. So we have an arbitrary score of 25 before it becomes an MQL. So that cold lead would have had to read a blog, open and click on 3 emails, for example, and download a case study to get to a score of 25 when we say, all right, it's now warmed up for sales, it's over to sales as a marketing qualified lead. We nurture every week. So every contact in our database gets a weekly email, and then we send a monthly newsletter as well. So we're constantly nurturing, and that's really how we show value to sales. Because if we just went to sales and said, here's a contact we think you should reach out to, and you should give them a call and offer them a demo. Sales isn't going to do that, right? We need to be able to show them this is why, or this is an MQL, so we can track all that through our HubSpot system.
Excellent. Do you have any tips to get those at C-level who are maybe more technically focused on their deliverables more on board with marketing initiatives? It's a final question.
Yeah, that's I've been challenged by that, in many of the roles that I've had. And I think if you talk about the data, so if you're able to, it depends how advanced you are in your CRM. If you have good data in your CRM and you can show those technical C-levels the data, look, we've got, we generated 100 leads this month, or we had 800 views of this blog, or the case study we wrote has had 500 requests, things like that. Show them true data and show them the picture of marketing beyond what they think marketing is, which is probably, events and advertising. Show them how you understand the buyer's journey and how you want to influence it. I think taking that strategic viewpoint can really help with C-level.
Beautiful, so valuable. Monica Brink, everyone, please give a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you.